Hey guys, this lecture will focus on the concepts of saving and wealth. So first we're going to look at the definition of saving and the definition of wealth. Then we're going to look at the relationship between savings and wealth. And then finally we're going to look at why, or the reasons behind why we save. Okay, so before we go into this lecture, we're going to look at the definitions first. So savings refers to the part of current income not devoted to current expenditure. Now this may be pretty straightforward, and it really is. It's the part of your income that you don't spend. And we know that savings, if we save money, we're not spending it. So that's what savings is. It's not difficult. It refers to the part of current income not devoted to current expenditure. Secondly, we have wealth. And wealth is very similar to income, except that it is a stock variable, so it can be measured at a certain point in time. So what wealth is the value of the stock of assets, accumulated from saving. So now we can see that there is a relationship accumulated from savings. So as we can see, if we save, we've gone through the definitions. If we save, we're going to be adding to our wealth. Okay, so that's the relationship between savings and wealth. And it's very important to save because we have many different uses for our savings. Okay, so now we're going to look at this idea of savings. So we've seen the relationship between savings and wealth. Wealth is the accumulated value of our savings. So savings is that part of income not devoted to current consumption. So we're going to look at why we save. And there are three major reasons as to why we save. Okay. So the first reason why we save is this idea of bequest savings. So as the name suggests, bequest savings is saving to consolidate your children's, you just put an S, children's financial future. So oftentimes savings are passed down on your will. So if you want to make sure that if your children has a sound financial future, you save, and therefore you give your money or your savings or your wealth in your will to your children after you die, or even your family. So I'm just going to put your family here. You have no children. And even if you have no children, or unluckily if you have no family, then some people may choose to save for their favorite charity, for example. And that's the idea of bequest saving. Saving to consolidate your children's financial future or to pass on your wealth to someone else. Okay. The second reason that people save is this idea of saving for a rainy day. This is very colloquial, saving for a rainy day, but it relates to this idea that to secure your own financial future. So it is very often that people choose to save during times of low confidence because people may believe that their jobs are under risk and therefore they may not have a future flow of income in the future. And so what this means is that they will choose to save now whilst they have jobs, so that they can fund their future financially using their savings instead of their relying on their income in the future. So when they have money now, they're going to start saving, especially in times of low confidence. So that is the second reason as to why we save. Third reason is this idea of reward for savings. So what this means is that when you put your money in your bank, you receive interest. And so although you're giving up current expenditure, you know that because interest repayments, say, are at 5% when you accumulate it into the bank, you actually receive a higher rate of return than if you were to spend it now. So what this means is that you are foregoing a current satisfaction. So if you want to choose to say, to spend your money now, you can buy, say, a certain number of goods and services at the moment with the money you have now. But if you want to save your money in the future, you can buy more goods and services in the future, so you can consume more. This relates to the idea of consuming more. And oftentimes people save because they want to purchase expensive items. So take, for example, you want to buy a house or you want to buy a car. Many people don't have around $30,000 or $40,000 for a term deposit or a car up front, and so what they do is they put their money in the bank. So when they put their money in the bank, they get rewarded by this idea of interest, and when they receive interest, they are able to accumulate their savings as wealth. So when they accumulate their savings as wealth here, then until they accumulate a stock of assets enough to buy a house or to put down a term deposit for a house, then they can purchase more expensive or larger purchases in the future. So they're the three main reasons as to why we save. We save because we want to contribute to our children or our family's financial future, or even our charities. We want to save for a rainy day so that we avoid financial collapse if, for whatever reason, in the future we lose our jobs. So we don't have a constant flow of income in the future. We want to save so that we can rely on our wealth to fund our living. And thirdly, we have this idea of reward for savings. So when we save our money in the bank, we receive a high interest, especially if we put it in a very long-term deposit. And so what this means is that we are able to consume more in the future, especially if we want to purchase expensive items such as houses or cars. So before we finish this video, we're just going to go on a little side note, which is this idea of this savings. Just going to rub this out. So we have this little side note here. Which is this idea of this saving. So sometimes we can consume without income. So how we consume without income is we take from our savings. So when we want to pursue the purchases of expensive items such as cars or houses, effectively what we're doing is we're dissaving. So we're taking away from our savings or accumulated stock of assets. We are actually dissaving. So we're taking away from our savings, or we're decreasing our wealth. So that's the idea of dissaving. So the economy can actually spend even when income is zero because of this accumulation of wealth from previous years. Or even individuals, if our income is zero, it doesn't mean we can't spend anymore. It means we have to dissave. And dissaving can be a good thing if we're purchasing assets, but it can be a bad thing if we're dissaving in order to pay off debt. Okay, so that's the lecture on savings and wealth and how savings and wealth are interconnected. So savings, again, refers to the part of current income not devoted to current expenditure, and wealth relates to the value of the stock of assets accumulated from this savings.